Welcome into the ESPN FC studio for our Year in Review show. As the title suggests, we will be reviewing the year.
Okay.
Alejandro Moreno here with me in the studio throughout. Lots of people as well will be joining us. Likes of Jurgen Klinsmann, Derek Ray, Sid Lowe, Shaka Hislop. And also, look who's here to start things off. Ian Darke and Stevie Nicol. And what a year it was for Stevie Nicol, because after a 30-year wait, he finally saw his beloved Liverpool go and win the Premier League title. 99 points in the end was the total, beating Manchester City by a clear 18 points. They had to wait a long time for it. Then closing the gap to just one English title between Manchester United and Liverpool. Stevie, we discussed this a lot, didn't we, during the year? Who would have thought when you won that title back in 1990 it would be such a wait?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we would have won a lot of money if we'd put a bet on that. The truth is that very rarely in that 30-year span did they come very close. You know, obviously we had the Gerrard slip when they were a couple of points off it. And then the year before they won it, Man City won it by a point. So, you know, 2 years out of 30, they were close to winning it. The rest of the time, just so far away. But you know what? If you're going to win it, go and win it in style. And they absolutely won it in style. You talk about breathtaking football, lots and lots of goals. You talk about entertainment, and you talk about deserving of the title as well. So, I mean, just an incredibly long wait, yes. But when it came, what a fantastic football team.
And Ian, we remind ourselves where we were going into the start of the new season. Liverpool had just won the Champions League, obviously finished second to Manchester City in quite the extraordinary title race. And it was a lot of people asking how are Liverpool going to respond. They responded, as Stevie said, in some style.
Yeah, I think they had the eye of the tiger. Remember, they got 97 points. No team had ever finished second getting that many points. So it was a heartbreaker for them the season before to be pipped to the title by 1 point. And I think that gave them added steel to add to all the other qualities that team has. Remember, Jurgen Klopp calls them his mentality monsters. And I think that was a big factor as well. They were a mentally strong side. Remember, this team didn't lose a game till February the 29th against Watford. The other two defeats they had came when they'd already clinched the title. I mean, as Stevie said, they played fantastic football right the way through. And I think it was very emotional for them. Their eyes were set on that target right from the word go. And they never really ever let up or looked like they weren't going to win it. And they were deserving champions, and how they did it, real style.
And that was evident in their performances.
Absolutely, and I think it's the credit of Jurgen Klopp and certainly the players, of course, that you go from winning Champions League and you could have just as easily have said, you know what, we've done it. We've achieved whatever it is that we were going to achieve with this group, because that is indeed the height of what is club football in Europe. And yet, what you saw was a continuation of what they did in Champions League, and that continuation got even better and better as the year went on. And that they gave nobody else hope. There was no chance for everybody else to win this title or to actually compete for this title. This was over by December. And some people came in this show and thought, you know, well, maybe Leicester is going to give them a go. No, that was never going to happen. Manchester City was never going to happen. This was over by December, and he was so very dominant. The fact that they were able to keep on that momentum and continue to play as well as they did, Jurgen Klopp and the players, they deserve a whole lot of credit.
Jurgen Klopp at the heart of everything, Ian, that's been good about Liverpool over the last few years. And it's incredible the way in which he's done it, of course, since arriving in 2015. Their net spend is the 6th when you take a look at the English side. He came in, and it's just a handful of players that are left when he took over back then 5 years ago that were having title-winning medals this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely energised the club. He's the perfect fit for Liverpool. He'd been in a similar kind of city in Germany, in Dortmund, a football-crazy city on a mission. And it looked right from the moment he arrived, I think. I think he called himself the normal one, didn't he? I want to turn doubters into believers. He certainly did that. I mean, those figures there, that is smart business. To a net spend of only £114 million, that the fewest of any of the big six teams. Of course, they sold Coutinho for a lot of money. That affected that figure. But the two big signings there were the goalkeeper, Alisson, and of course, more than that, Virgil van Dijk. That solved all the problems at the back, and they looked a different team once those two players were in it.
I just want to remind you of the starting 11 for Klopp's first game in charge. Mignolet in goal, Klein, Skirtle, Saka, Moreno, Emre Lucas Leiva, Adam Lallana, Coutinho, James Milner, and Origi up front. Stevie, the overhaul has been quite extraordinary about how many players that have changed and how successful they have become.
Well, it's two things, and clearly the very first one is recruitment, and the coach, and it's a toss of a coin to figure out which one's more important, because without good recruitment, Klopp can't turn average players into great players, but with good recruitment and people that can see a little diamond in the rough, and that's what Liverpool have. Liverpool have 7 or 8 diamonds in the rough. People like Gigi Wijnaldum. You know, what Klopp's done with Henderson. You know, questions were asked of Salah when he came in. You've already got Jota, who's been in Liverpool 3 months, and all of a sudden he's becoming a superstar. So that part of it is down to Klopp, and it's all about a culture. Liverpool is a culture because good players become great players. I could go on and on about the list. You think of Bobby Firmino. I mean, how good is this guy? This guy's now one of the first names on the Brazil team sheet. Questions again were asked about him when he came from Germany. So Jurgen Klopp, no question, is a real coach. He's a guy that can turn good players into great ones, as I said, and he's probably got 10 or 11 of them at Liverpool. And so, great coach, but the most important thing, the culture. He has made a real culture there.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.